her. I like her, but I don't like her as much as anyone else. Is what I mean.
Hey, that's okay. You're just like, I don't want to be like fangirling over somebody. I like you, but not that much.
I think what Natalie Portman. I think what sold me on Natalie Portman was she has this one movie where she plays a character who gives birth to someone inside of a Walmart.
Oh, I
like
love that movie. That's
Yes,
actually one of my
great
favorites she
movie.
plays in. I watched it as a teen and adored it. Where the Heart Is.
Yes.
But
And she named her
Also
daughter
has
Americus.
Yes.
I don't approve of her baby name, but it was a good movie. Americus is a little bit weird.
But it was based on a true story, I think. But,
It's based on a novel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, an actual woman gave birth into a Walmart and had a similar story. It's
I
not
think it was
exactly
just a
the
novel. I don't think it was a true story.
Really?
I think someone can get up now.
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Yes.
You
You're
do
a little
sound
bit
different.
echoey, but yeah.
I will say that the thing that what sold I don't think
It is just a novel, not a true story.
Okay. I don't think that range makes an actor or an actress. I think you can be a very good actor and, only be able to play like one or two parts. But when you see it, it's really impressive seeing how she can go from like that movie to something like Black Swan to something like I'm trying to think of her other movies, but I can't. Anyways, I like her though. She's really good. Also,
talking about acting and stuff.
Well,
I loved her in Star Wars. She was great, and then I saw the Where the Heart Is movie, and I've just liked her in everything I've seen her.
She dropped out of Harvard, right? I think she dropped out.
I think she graduated. I could be wrong. We should look it up.
We could.
I mean, I would drop out of Harvard if it meant actually graduating somewhere else.
Okay, it looks like my voice is now getting picked up by Twitch, so that's good.
Oh, she did graduate.
Sorry, I'm a bit behind today. I ended up getting some stuff done today that I wasn't expecting to get to till tomorrow.
Oh, that's always good.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, she paused. I don't know. I didn't know that you could actually do that, where you can just like, well, I'm going to take a year off in the middle of my undergraduate degree, but that's what she did.
Just like a leave of absence.
She dropped out.
Yeah. And then she came back to it after she did Black Swan or something.
Oh.
I think it was Black Swan. It's something like that. I'm reading it.
Fantasy Grounds is up.
I'll never forget what Jim Carrey said.
What did Jim
once
Carrey?
you go Black Swan, you never go back Swan.
Okay.
So dumb. he legitimately said that in like an SNL sketch way back when.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Once you go Black Swan, you never go back Swan. It was a weird sketch where he was the Black Swan character, and he was like I don't know. There's just like this one like stage director that like was into him, thinking that like he was a her. Anyway, the punchline of the joke over the skit was essentially him saying that like after the guy realized like, oh, like I realize now you're actually a man. And anyway, it was just the dumbest thing ever. Moral of the story: don't watch new SNL. Watch old SNL.
I haven't seen SNL in a long time. Actually, I take that back. I did see some of the SNL during the Trump years. It's funny I get to call them the Trump years now, but...
Alright, for any of our viewers, if you have questions that you want to ask the party, or any particular member of the party, Go ahead and put those in the chat, and we will get to them during an intermission if there are questions. And I guess that same goes for you guys. If you want to have that intermission, even if there's no questions from any audience members, then let me know, and we can make sure to have an intermission of sorts.
What if we want to ask the audience very awkward, probing questions?
About their own personal character.
Yeah, I don't think any of the audience will answer questions that they don't want to, so there's that at least.
Can we still ask them?
Yeah,
Okay.
especially before we get started, which Enrique's a bit behind, so I might just have to catch him up on early conversation, because I need to do a little housekeeping first.
Oh,
Good kind of housekeeping, not like we have something bad to talk about housekeeping.
oh. Speaking of housekeeping, I'll be right back.
By the way, she said she was gonna be a little late, but she was like the first person. here.
But like I said in the chat, she has habitually said that every single time. Like I'm so accustomed to Kayla always saying she's going to be late.
So
Yet again, here she is. Johnny on the
always
spot.
I always underestimate the time I spend on whatever it is I'm doing beforehand, and then suddenly I have this small term of time to do things. So tonight it was like showering, washing my hair, braiding it, and eating.
That's
and
why
I was
late,
like,
actually.
yeah, I'm like, I'm probably not going to get this done. So I just want to give a polite warning, and then I end up, I guess, overestimating the time I need for those things. I don't know. I have no conception of time.
I mean, it's better to plan on being late and then be early than vice versa.
I
Yeah.
have a question for people while you guys are here. For Nomad's campaign, the question I have is, I don't want any specifics, but what role or type of character were you guys
Whoa,
thinking?
whoa, 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 whoa. Metagamer, enough. Silence.
None. I'm
I think
actually. Here's what I'm planning on being. My character will be a block.
I just
An inanimate
think,
object, just a block over in the corner.
Yeah,
but what if
Taggart's
we
playing
get
a tank?
if we get an entire party of like squishy people who die to the first Sith Lord that comes around?
What do you mean pushy
Well, then that's
people?
just what happens.
Squishy,
That's the fun.
squishy,
Yeah.
Wishy?
squishy, like SQUISH.
That's a
Yeah,
conversation
there
to have with the DM, and he'll give you whatever information he wants to give you or doesn't want. Wait, he won't give you information he doesn't want to give you. But questions between
I will
players
never-
like that is lame.
I will never require a party to be balanced or tell people to play a healer, tell somebody to play a tank or anything like that. You play the exact character that you're looking for, and I will try to tailor the experience to you. Obviously, I'm not going to, obviously if you don't have something like a healer, things might be a little more difficult in some areas, but I'm not going to severely handicap you just because you're not all playing the standard roles that you should in a balanced party. You would probably need to do that in a module if I was running that, but for something homebrew where you can be significantly more flexible, I'm not going to require anybody to have specific roles. And if all of you are squishy, that probably means that you're very specialized and skilled in other areas. So that means you're just going to have to be much more creative. Whether that's because, you're a better mechanic and you have explosive knowledge, or because maybe you're a scoundrel and you specialize in stealth and really juicy sneak attacks in that. So that just requires you to be more creative if you're not filling those traditional, so you have a traditional party, I should say.
And I think furthermore, on our end, we have the responsibility, if we're, for example, a very non-combative group, to come up with non-combative ways to deal with the issues. Whatever our strengths are, play to our strengths. Don't make a group be whatever it is, and then, like Parley's saying, go play like it's a module. Right, well, we have to go fight this thing.
Yeah, I want you guys to play the characters that you want, the way that you see them, how you see fit. Like, obviously, like, I will put, like, some limitations, like, I don't want any evil characters, but, yeah, I will never require the party to ever be balanced. If you want to communicate things between players, sure, you may go ahead, but, don't worry about needing to have a balanced party. If it's something like, you know, that's really only useful on like one person, like leadership stuff, then sure, like you can ask about that. But yeah, otherwise, like, don't worry about that, Kyle.
Okay, I will not.
So, the housekeeping that I needed to do for now is Erica is due late September, and just so that we don't have to be committed to a weekly D&D session when we're about to have the baby and then for a little bit after, we'll probably take about a month, maybe up to 2 months of a hiatus. But, and maybe I'm speaking a little bit out of turn, Erica, but if we want to do something else as a group and just have it be less consistent and less formal, then I'd be okay with that. But just, it wouldn't take up necessarily as much time as we usually spend on a session. And so that would be the case, and also I would be very much planning on not always being there if that also happens. That being said, I'm not sure if you guys want to make any
as long as
plans.
it's less time.
Yeah. So just really just less time commitment over the next 2 months with the constant possibility that Erica and I will simply not be available. Because we will also have my mom visiting for a while and some family, and so during just around a few weeks before we have the baby and then probably a month after, just very...
Why can't Erica just give birth in the morning and then play in the evening?
Yeah, Erica, come on. Why didn't you think of that? Just...
Because I don't want to. That's why.
Okay, that's fair.
So, that being said, Parley, I know you had mentioned wanting to run kind of a practice campaign or something in Pathfinder before you actually ran your Star Wars campaign.
Yeah.
How long were you wanting to have that first campaign run? Would it be, would it work if we just did like a 2-month hiatus from this campaign? Like if we found kind of a good halting point for like a to be continued, and then did a month or 2, maybe even 3 of your campaign, and then after everything's kind of cleared up with the baby, then we come back to this? Or were you wanting to do something a little bit longer?
Yeah, sure. I suppose a few months could work.
I mean, I don't want to foist that onto you and have you feel like you have to say yes. So definitely, if that's not going to fit with what you're wanting to do for your first campaign, then that's totally fine.
I mean, I think it would be better to keep it shorter, rather than trying to do like a really broad thing. So no, I think that's fine.
Okay.
To see if I can just handle something that's a little bit smaller for now. Sure. Okay. When would that be?
When do we want to do that? If I were to say from my end, depending on how fast we handle things in the vault, I think after the vault would probably be a very good time to kind of have a to be continued on this campaign. Because I've got some plans that if we were to tie them up a little bit, you know, we can kind of end one of the sessions with a cutscene that I'm preparing right now, and then when we come back after, you know, a month or 2 or 3, revisit the cutscene to kind of refresh memories and everything and kind of get back in with momentum. So that would be a good cutoff point for me, which, again, depending on how we go through the vault, I could see that being 2 to 3 weeks, which would put us early to mid-September. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I can be ready as soon as everybody else is ready, so don't worry about my timing.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I know for me, September 9th, I believe, I know I'm definitely not going to be able to make it to game that night, if that changes anything.
I mean, if you guys push through quick, and I mean, we can even truncate a couple things, but I could shoot for us kind of cutting things with the to be continued on the 2nd, which is today and then 2 more Fridays.
I'm good with that.
Works for
And then
me.
after that, the next Fridays and that you would want me.
At
To the
that
end
point,
afterwards?
we can be flexible. I mean, like I said, Erica and I, we might as late as like same evening say, hey, we're not gonna be able to make it tonight.
Alright.
So, I mean, I will be there whenever I can, but throughout when we're getting stuff ready for the baby, I just will always have that, might not be there.
I mean,
So-
whether Parley's doing like a practice Pathfinder or even like, you know, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. I mean, I'm just down for being with you guys and doing some fun action and role play. So
Okay.
I'll make it work.
I'm on the Jasper end of the spectrum.
Oh yeah.
Okay, then let's plan on that. If you guys don't mind, I will try and streamline things on my end, and I want to be careful because I don't want to ask you not to roleplay because that's kind of the center of this campaign. But if we can keep the roleplay plot focused for the next 3 weeks, I think we can push through. So, like, if there's personal stuff that comes up, roleplay wise, if we can wait for that until after the break, that would probably be best and help us get to the point where we can have that clean cut on the 2nd. And if you guys want, I can kind of help moderate that, but I also don't want to, if we get to a point where it's like, it's the right time to do some of that role playing, I don't want to step in and cut it off, because again, like that's what these characters are so focused on, and I've loved all the role playing that's happened. So,
Me too.
okay.
After much deliberation, Jasper regretfully resigns from the kingdom. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, Jasper accepts.
Okay. I don't know, anything else that anyone wants to bring up regarding that? And then obviously we can talk details about that shorter campaign, Parley, once we get close to that date. But
Yeah, sure.
yeah, I mean, if there's nothing else, then we can give a quick recap of last week's events and get things moving. Have you guys preferred it when I do the recaps or when one of you does it? I know we've kind of done a little bit of each throughout the time.
Yeah, I don't care.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
I
whatever.
think you're the best person to give the recap, to
Okay.
be honest.
probably.
Then, last week, there was a heartfelt conversation between Maleth and Jasper, shortly after which the inn that you were staying at had some commotion outside. All of you in your own timing and ways went to investigate, and it became evident that there were some vampires accosting some skeleton guards outside, and there'd been some damage in the area surrounding, but it became evident very quickly that they were there because of you. And you reacted fairly quickly, incapacitating several of them, or at least distracting them, and a very quick fight ensued, wherein Nomad completely destroyed one of the vampires, and Maleth eviscerated the rest, which attempted to escape. While Prince was able to charm one of them, which is quite abnormal. Most of you who are familiar with enchantment magic would know that most enchantments do not work on undead, and yet he was able to do so. But instead of controlling it or causing it to be destroyed, he sent it back with its fellows with commands to return to you the next day when it was able. And after this, there was a man who had been watching the carnage that came and approached you and spoke to you about some of the sentiments in the town.
Wait,
From-
1 second.
Yeah, go ahead.
You missed one thing.
Yes, go ahead.
Gabriel drunkenly fell off.
That's right. Gabriel drunkenly fell off holding only a stick, and trying to attack the vampires, he ended up landing on one of the skeleton guards that was protecting the inn and crushing it. And, oh yes, and there was one other thing that
And that was in my underwear.
Jasper, while he was down, he actually extracted the soul of one of the vampires as it was nearly destroyed, and that actually prevented it from escaping. And following this, an old man by the name of, trying to remember, Deckard, spoke to you all, or at least to some of you, and gave the thoughts and the impressions from the villagers about you and about what they feel, or at least what he feels about what has been happening in Zelkir. He kind of probed in to find out why you were here, why you were doing what you were doing. That encounter ended, and as you all went to retire for the night, only questions remain as to what the morrow will bring, what secrets may lie within the vault, and if even the things that you'll find in there will be beneficial to you, or if they will simply draw more ire from the growing number of enemies that you have within Zelkir. So that is where we last left our adventurers, and we will return to them there as they retire for the night at the inn.
I'm gonna go AFK for like 20 seconds. I need
Okay.
to put my phone somewhere.
Yeah. Alright, so I believe all of you had gone in. Gabriel, you were drinking yourself to sleep. I believe Jasper just went straight back to bed, and the other four of you had spoken to the old man before heading up. Was there anything that needed to be done this evening? Going once?
I mean, I guess technically Jasper will do his nightly thing, but that's just kind of implied. I only bring that up because of the instructions that Prince gave to the innkeeper, barkeep.
Okay, do you do those
I have
within
something I want to do.
Okay, give me just a moment, Hestia. Jasper, do you do that within the confines of your and Nomad's room, or did you do that elsewhere?
Oh, that'd be like in a washroom or something.
Okay, yeah,
So-
you would have a washroom within your room.
Okay, sweet. Then that's where I'd do it.
Actually, Enrique, you would actually probably know better than me. In a more medieval setting, would a hotel have a place? Would it have a communal restroom and bathroom, or would it have one in the rooms themselves?
There will be a communal one unless you pay extra, and then you get one in your own room.
And I believe you were the one who paid for the extra nice room with the balcony
Yeah.
and all that. So you probably had one in yours, but most everyone else, so yeah, Jasper, you would have to use a more communal room, communal
Perfect.
washroom. So, yeah,
Well, I mean, if anything, that lends to me potentially just seeing some dude right outside my door, kind of like putting his ear up
Go
to the
ahead and
door.
make a-
Like,
go ahead and make a perception check.
and yeah, I mean, yeah, how he knows I'm in the restroom, I don't think he would, but
I didn't say that he did. I just said make a perception check.
19.
While you are performing your ritual, you do hear the movement of people walking around outside. Nobody comes into the actual washroom, but you do hear the footsteps of some people moving around. It's hard for you to tell exactly how many people are who, but there's certainly motion happening. People are up, even at this wee hours of the morning. Alright, Hestia.
Yeah.
I would like to put my arm back and Jasper's leg back.
Okay. What level spell is Lesser Restoration?
Let me find out.
I'm trying to remember. I believe it's a 4th level spell for you. Or sorry, not Lesser Restoration. Lesser Regeneration.
I'm looking.
It is a 4th level spell for you.
When it comes to Mordecai's staff, is there anything I can do to
So
recharge
yeah,
the...
I'd like to cast that split twice.
Okay. I will get to you in just a moment, Nomad. So, Jasper, would you accept the regeneration of your limb before you went and did your ritual, or after?
I guess before, if possible, sure.
Okay. So we'll do Hestia's first. Hestia, you place your arm up close to the stump, and you lay down in such a way because you need to have your hand free to cast the spell, but you place your disembodied hand and arm close to the stump at your elbow, and kind of laying on the bed, you cast Lesser Regeneration, and you were filled with a level of excruciating pain as the flesh on your stump tears itself open. And it's almost as if the tendrils of flesh kind of reach out, grabbing towards the tissue on the arm that you have now at this point not seen for nearly a month. The pain
I smile very
subsides.
large.
The pain recedes fairly quickly, and while at first the limb feels like dead weight, as the spell begins to take effect after the entire connection takes probably about 2 or 3 minutes, you slowly begin to feel the tips of your fingers, and one by one you're able to once again move your fingers slowly, your whole hand and arm, and you feel whole again, unsurprisingly. The absence of your arm, though you've gotten used to it, it's much as people say, it's like riding a bike. It comes back just naturally, and your arm feels great. And as you examine the elbow and the place where the cut had happened, you find that there is not even so much as a scar.
I wiggle my fingers and have a large grin and ask, Jasper, how does it feel?
So you would have to do yours first, and then do Jasper, unless you wanted
Well,
to
then
do his
when
first.
I do,
Well,
when
it
I
feels
do
like
his-
bitter jealousy, I'll tell you that. Because she hadn't done it yet.
So when you have yours happen, Jasper, go ahead and make a heal check.
Ooh. Oh, I think I understand what's happening here.
I'm curious what you think. Oh wow, okay, you definitely rolled high enough to notice this. What are you thinking is going to happen, or do you want me to say
Well,
first?
I feel like I've had this false leg on me long enough that it could have some effect on how easily things regenerate and kind of come back together for the rest of my leg. I'm thinking, but we'll see.
As the spell is cast, and once again, you take off all the apparatus that you had down there to help you walk, and you put your leg, and it's so weird to you to kind of be holding your leg and not be feeling it as you're touching it, and to remind you, you were able to tell that it had greater or gentle repose cast upon it, so that it wasn't decaying or anything like that. But as you put it close, it feels so weird to just be seeing that and then have like the slight gap. As she casts the spell, now the stump is a little bit rounded because of the way that it healed. Where Hestia felt, a sharp pain, you have excruciating pain fill your leg. Pain beyond what you have felt in most circumstances in your life. And you're kind of watching, probably out of morbid curiosity as much as anything else. And through the pain, you notice that there is a lot more callus at the base, and as that flesh is kind of like ripping itself apart to open up and reconnect, you notice a lot more wear and tear at the end of your leg than you would have in a leg that hadn't been disconnected like that. And you watch as all of that damage is mending itself, but it is very difficult for you to pay as much attention because the pain is immense as your body is both ripping itself apart and mending itself and tying itself together all at the same time. And again, as the tendrils of flesh kind of intertwine and wrap around each other, pulling in the old flesh and the old bone even, you can feel as cartilage and as tendon kind of starts to fill in the gaps that they've slowly been weakened on. And it takes a little bit longer than for Hestia, but you're slowly able to start to feel your toes again and to move your ankle. And the thing that is most poignant to you, and I don't know if you, Jake, have ever had a surgery and had a cast on, but you can tell that your leg is much weaker than it was before. There's been a little bit of atrophy in the last month or so as the muscle has slowly shrunk, not to the point of being destroyed, but just through non-use. And it is very weird walking on it again. But eventually you're able to put your weight on it and the pain subsides. But you can tell an obvious difference between your left and your right leg at this point. It will take probably a day for the fatigue to recede completely, but you are once again able-bodied and no longer missing a limb.
You're not gimpy anymore. Congratulations.
Well, not in that respect, at least.
Jasper doesn't even say anything. He removes a piece of leather from in between his teeth, which he had placed there to keep from biting his own tongue, and he just goes to the washroom from at that point.
It is easier for you. Okay, so it is easier for you to get to the point that you need to as part of your ritual than normal because of the fatigue in your body from that healing process.
Good.
So the
I need to
process
go to bed.
The process that normally takes you about an hour only took you about 30 minutes this time to kind of get to that point. Anything else that anyone's wanting to do this night?
When Jasper walks in, I'll say, "Are you going to keep the cane for old time's sake?"
Well,
Yeah,
the
do we
cane's
see
been.
Jasper?
Sorry, what was that, Bailiff?
Why are you hanging out in my room, mate?
Asking. I have to ask who is going to see Jasper because that's what I need to know the answer to the question. Sorry to interrupt. I didn't mean to.
Oh yeah, you'd probably have seen him coming up as well.
Well, if I did, I'd be like, "Oh, your leg, it's back."
Hardly. And he just keeps walking.
I'm going to come out of my room and just start high-fiving people. Because I can, so.
What does Nomad say to Jasper?
Are you going to keep the cane for old time's sake?
Oh. This cane's been a part of this long before any gimp leg. It's more of a necessity now.
Really?
Yeah, no, it's an heirloom. Much like the coin I showed you.
All right.
And with regards to this staff,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Is there anything I can do to recharge the feet portion of it?
Do you?
Because I don't think I have protection mass as a spell as a war priest right
So
now.
both of those spells are the only way to recharge the staff. So if
Oh,
you,
Paragon's Virtue is a spell?
it is a spell, yes.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
spell that gives you access to a feat for the duration of the spell, for which you are qualified to take. Like, you have all the prerequisites for the feat, and you're able to gain access to the feat for the duration of the spell. But anybody is able to charge well, in theory, anybody can charge the staff if they know one of the spells that's on it.
Okay, gotcha.
So you'd have to ask around, see if anyone knows the...
I've got the spell. I just didn't realize that was a spell.
Oh, Paragon's Virtue.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the Protection from Energy Communal, for your reference, is a 4th level spell for other classes, for the most part.
Okay.
So Paragon's Virtue is one that you're able to cast.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, let me check for just a second.
The 3rd level for war priest and cleric.
Is it, what's the
Or just
What's
war
the-
priest, perhaps.
what's the actual name of the spell? Is it Paragon?
Paragon Surge.
Oh, Paragon Surge. That's right. I was like, I know I have this written somewhere. Okay, yeah. Yeah, and the norm. Oh, that's why. Okay, so it's the spell is only able to be cast on you if you're a half elf, except for from the staff. That's why. I knew there was some niche about it. Okay, then if there's nothing else this night, then let's see.
Can I just check on Jasper with how he's doing?
I mean, yeah.
Because he was obviously a little bit distraught.
He just wants to high five him.
You would go to him after he comes
I got
back
it.
from his ritual, and he is noticeably shaken. He is shivering, I'd say, and you can tell that the blood has largely drained from his face, and he is quite pale after having come back up.
Are you doing okay, Jasper? I can tell that you're not looking good. Is it because of the healing, or is it something else?
No, I'm fine. Don't. I'll be all right in the morning.
You say don't worry. It's my job to worry if it's my spell.
I don't think it's your spell. I just need a decent bed and a warm blanket.
Okay, well, if there's anything I can do for you, I'm here for you. And I want to help you if I can.
Much obliged. Good night.
Alright. Have a good night. I'm gonna smile, like, a little sadly at him. And go. That about ends it for everything for me. I didn't realize Taggart was gone.
What is going on?
Sorry,
Is
I'm
someone
back.
wrestling a rhino?
Oh, he was just bringing me my water.
I was bringing her water, and then I grabbed some chips while I was up. Because it's not D&D if there's no snacks. Okay. So, in the morning, unless anything else needs to get taken care of, going once, going twice, sleep.
For Paragon Surge, do people get the +2 Dex and Intelligence from that or not?
They do. But again,
Okay.
the only way to cast the spell normally is to be a half-elf. And so because of that, I'm going to have you... You think it's fair for me to have you need to use 2 spell slots to add charge to the thing because of that? Or is that too much?
If I'm going to be 100% honest, I would not charge the staff if it costs that much.
Okay.
Because that's my Channel Vigor, is my 3rd level spell.
Okay, then yeah, first, just 1 then is fine.
Okay.
So, but you can only do 1 per day. That is a normal thing for stabs, not a house rule, or not a specialty thing. So
Yeah, interesting.
yeah, you can only put so much energy back into a staff at one time. You can use the entirety of the staff all in one go if you wanted, but only one person can put 1 set of charge or charges into the staff per day. As you wake up, nothing special happens in the night after that, but Prince, when you come down, the barkeep will pull you aside at some point, and he will tell you that nothing else extraordinary happened, but he had, per your suggestion, kept an eye on Jasper, and while he doesn't know all the details, he can tell that he was able to ascertain that at some point during the night, during the wee hours of the morning even, Jasper had come down to the washroom and had apparently gotten water and just kind of dunked himself in it over and over and over again until he started shivering. And he's never seen anything so weird or insane as that. And that's saying something, living in a country filled with undead. But
Okay.
that's what you
Is
could
there
tell. He doesn't know
is there
where...
any knowledge?
Oh, go ahead.
Is there any knowledge check I can do to maybe have some idea of what that is?
Go ahead
I
and
can
give
hear
me...
you.
Go ahead and give me a knowledge religion check. Also... Yeah, he would also tell you he's not really sure where Jasper could have gotten water cold enough to do that. Because, I mean, water's not exactly hot here, but it's certainly not cold enough to make someone shiver.
I got a 33.
Okay. Off the top of your head, it sounds like some sort of religious ritual or rite. I will message you details beyond that.
Okay.
So give me just a moment. If you guys want to take a moment and role play getting up and kind of taking care of things, make any plans, go ahead and do that right now while I am writing up this message, and then we'll go from there.
I am wearing sunglasses in the morning.
Do they have sunglasses? Is that a
Wondering,
thing that exists?
sunglasses exist then?
What would they be made out of? Like stained glass?
You could make them out of bone.
But
we're
what would the
getting
like
How could you
glass
see
be
like
made out
Skull
of?
slits.
No, I
We're
don't,
getting
I
like
don't
a
think you
full
have
night dress,
sunglasses,
right?
Gabriel.
I will use a see-through cloth.
You could definitely do that.
Yeah,
A halfway
on my
blindfold.
face. Yeah.
A veil.
I'm gonna get a drink.
Yep.
I'll be back.
We got a full night's rest, right? So,
That is correct.
okay, I wanted to make sure I had all my spell slots then.
But I want to do a perception check to see how drunk he is. God,
I
one of my
probably-
best
how late
rolls
were
on
you
this
drinking?
day,
were you drinking into the night?
I don't know. How long does it take to drink a whole cask?
Oh wow.
Okay, Gabriel, you did not get a full
Impossible.
rest. You are tired right now. But Prince, you can tell that he is both hungover still, or he's still a bit drunk and, woozy in the way that he's acting, but he is also obviously hungover.
That's a lot of stuff to drink.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to the bar and request
That's 9 gallons of beer.
an egg, an egg. Do they have Worcestershire sauce and hot sauce?
They don't have
Sort of-
Worcestershire,
what
but they do have Worcestershire sauce.
Well, I'm going to attempt to make him a prairie oyster with also. I'm gonna cast a spell. Wait, I have all my spells back. Do I need to manually undo my spells for the rest, or
Sorry, I need to give you a rest.
because I'm gonna cast one after you
Let me.
rest me. Rest us.
I need to remember if I have to do it on a per person basis or. Nope. It's thinking.
Well, I am going to go to the innkeeper. I'm gonna be like, look, would 3 more gold be okay for you to bring me a good breakfast to my room and let me sleep for 4 more hours?
I suppose that will be sufficient.
Okay. Accidentally, I'm gonna give him 4 gold instead
Okay.
of 3.
Duly noted.
Yeah. But Gabriel doesn't care at this point. Really. Just gonna tell him eggs, bacon, greasy bacon, and bread. And I'm gonna look at or wave it towards where everybody else is. I'm assuming everybody else is in the area. I'm just gonna tell him I just need a few more hours to sleep. And I'm gonna go crawl back upstairs.
Are we gonna? Never mind.
If you need me, you know where I am.
Well, wait. Who is down here?
I am. You're just talking about the inn? In the main
Yeah.
room? Yeah,
Oh,
I'm down
sorry.
there.
I'm trying to figure out what to do in between the 4 hours.
Well, we could get supplies that we think we might need for going into a vault.
That's true.
If we want to do that kind of thing.
Do we need anything? I'm guessing Harley's still AFK. Are you back yet?
Oh, I'm here. Sorry. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, what kind of things do we know about the vault? Like, because
I think that would be Jasper's territory.
Yes, Jasper, what can you tell us?
I don't really know anything beyond what I've told you. We have our directions of how to get in. We don't know how expansive the vault is. we know that it is dangerous, otherwise we wouldn't be sent in. And I mean, there is a secret means of entering, which danger alone wouldn't be enough to keep the undead at bay, right?
Not if they have their
There's
orders.
that.
Danger wouldn't keep the undead at bay if they have orders. So, no.
Right. I mean, what I'm trying to say is that ultimately, if it were simply dangerous and you would simply need to...
You're cutting out, Jasper. We can't hear anything. You've frozen.
It was me. Okay, good.
Yeah, I thought I was freezing too.
Can you say that again, Jasper?
Hold on. Let me see if I can fix that. Hold on.
You were just completely frozen for 20 seconds or so.
One moment, sorry. I'm gonna try to get my RAM usage to go down. Alright, this should be better. What I'm trying to say is, if it were simply a matter of the vault being hard to access due to traps, dangers, whatever, there's a multitude of undead servants here. It would have already been impregnated at this point. I'm sure that is not the case, because there is definitely like a magical or something means of having it sealed off, which we have the means now of entering in that regard. But as for the dangers, the traps, I don't know what to expect.
Well, is
Best
there any
thing
way
we
we
can
can do
do is
any
take it slow.
reconnaissance?
And be careful.
Is there any
Reconnaissance?
Yeah. I mean, I could put one of you guys in ghost form and just have you guys go through walls.
May not be a bad idea, actually. But I think that it would perhaps be best for all of us to at least go in together, but your idea does sound quite useful for having somebody proceed, and then we and then when they return we can move forward from there, perhaps, and then our ghost form ally proceeds some more and returns.
And I can always open
What
up
do you
walls
think?
too.
That too. But I think my eagerness to enter, all of us, the vault sooner than later, is because the longer we're here, the more attention that's drawn to us, the more likely our intentions are made clear and our mission becomes more dangerous.
That is true. But
In
we're
fact,
here for 4 more hours anyway, and we might as well do something useful with our time.
Right. I will say I'm not terribly optimistic about the prospects of our mission here. I'm actually more concerned with this than I was with Prince and I, oddly enough, than Prince and I speaking with His Majesty. Now, I think that's because there's just more unknown factors to what we're getting ourselves into. But I think that this is what we need to do. So I don't see another way. But I say that in case any of you have any ideas.
I think you're right, Jasper. And like I said earlier, we're just going to have to take it slow. Be careful. But
Right.
we can't throw away an opportunity like this.
It really
We're
sucks
heading
when.
there now.
Yeah. I really hate it when I was just gonna say I really hate it when you have to do something stupid, crazy like this. But I don't see another way. Have to go into a stupid, dangerous, almost certainly heavily trapped vault. I'm not I'm no archaeologist. I'm no dungeon delver. Well, I mean, I guess I'm ready to learn.
Stupid Dangerous sounds just like another day in our lives.
I mean, we were just, I don't know if you could call it an ambush, but we were just ambushed by vampires. So, I'm inclined to agree with Nomad.
Danger's an old song for us.
Yeah. Ambush is the right word, but vampires isn't the right word in that case. I was more like ambushed by persistent kittens.
I mean, if we're being honest, I was more ambushed by Maleth than I was by the vampire.
Okay, Prince. She said she was sorry. Nomad says
Several
with a
times.
smile on his face.
Let's let burn-gons be burn-gons.
I am
Okay.
very sorry.
I think we should get the danger going then. It doesn't seem like there's any reason to wait to go to the vault.
I agree.
I mean,
Except for
only if we need
for-
supplies, but...
What about Gabriel? Shouldn't we wait for him?
What about Gabriel? Isn't he usually a bright and early kind of guy?
No, he's drunk and
Hungover.
bruised. Probably still drunk.
I mean, I remember him being a little buzzed yesterday afternoon.
Oh, that's right. You didn't come outside.
He drunkenly fell on one of the skeletons and crushed it with his body,
Yes.
and then left.
Oh, it's right. Part of that Cohen business.
Cullen did. Yeah.
That's right. He's definitely taking it pretty hard. Then I would look over at Prince. The dwarf that Cohen is using as a vessel is an old friend of Gabriel's.
Oh. I just thought this was something that he does.
Well, I feel profiled.
You are not there, Gabriel. But yes, I did profile you.
That is why he was so faint sounding. He was there only in spirit.
Well, I just don't imagine people ask for dwarven ale when they are particularly saddened. It seems like a drink best saved for revelry, but
I mean, sorry, I think I'm a little confused. I'm not confused. That's not the right word. I just when I was doing a bit of reconnaissance myself before you had discovered me, Maleth and I we sent a few messages back and forth. Anyway, she had mentioned a bit of detail of the encounter with Alexander Cohen. I didn't quite. I wasn't quite thinking about how this would have really upset Gabe, but I imagine that's what it is. So, is he gonna be? Hestia, you know him better than any of us. Is he gonna be okay?
Yeah, he'll be fine. I think he's just having a hard time.
No claustrophobia that's gonna just be expanded upon due to his hangover, to his upset state. He's not gonna suddenly turn violent or anything down
He
there.
thinks of himself as a dwarf, so he should be
Does
fine.
he?
So, I mean, if anything, this will be good for him. He'll be in, like, a familiar kind of place, being in the dark, dank underbelly of this place, and maybe it'll kind of put a smile on his face.
Yeah. I think that's accurate.
Okay. Oh, here's the thing. One thing we need to figure out, because as far as I'm aware, my familiar still doesn't know I'm here, and it should stay that way. But I don't want to, I shouldn't leave with you, but if I could leave like 2 minutes before, 2 minutes after, meet you at the place, I mean,
I could probably agree to that, but I am kind of curious. You keep saying that you do not want your familiar to know that you are here. And
correct.
constantly trying to move around as though you're hiding from it, or
I am.
what's
That's
the
very
point?
observant of me.
I don't think it's that observant of me. I've just been hesitant to ask you. Is there a purpose in you hiding? Don't magical wizards, is that, I don't know if that's what you are, but aren't they usually friends with their familiars?
I am.
So
I think we talked about this a bit last time, that he doesn't want the familiar to know too much and thus be in a compromised position if someone gets a hold of them.
Exactly.
oh, I may.
And like most familiars, he's quite vulnerable and would potentially squeal even to his last breath and divulge stupidly information that would compromise our mission. So I think what would be appropriate is for, if he communicates with one of you, for you to explain you still haven't found me because you haven't, and for you to explain, like, look, we got to take care of this mission. You keep tabs on what's happening up here. Maybe you'll get some clue of where Jasper is, and when we come back up, you let us know what you've figured out. Because he should stay around this area. I want to be, reunited with him after all this is done, but he should not feel the need to join us down in the vault. He will not only be in more danger there, but there's some information it's best for him to not have. So that would be very helpful if you could assist me in that.
Okay. I'm no wizard though, but why wouldn't you just get a different familiar if this one is so troublesome?
I like him. I mean, it's not him that's troublesome. It's him finding out what I need to do in the vault. That'd be troublesome. And rest assured, it has nothing to do with the Runite.
Why would he not just stay with us? We can just as easily keep him safe as everyone else in the party.
You know how big. Look, I don't want to risk it. I'm fine with him being a part of everything. You know, just normally. He's been around with us for quite some time. I don't want him down there.
Okay.
If that's
I just don't want this in the future to become a very disruptive thing. But either way, let's get moving.
So shall I go there first, or perhaps I enter in first and don't go much beyond the entrance, just so that way.
We'll go first so we can already have scouted it out, get the preliminary stuff done so that when you arrive, hopefully we'll be ready to enter.
Good. I'll probably need to cast invisibility just in case. Would he deign follow me? I don't know. I'll think about it. Either way, yes, I will walk in 5 minutes after. Or less if you want that.
Whatever you're comfortable with.
Alright.
Just don't wait too long, is all.
Right, so what's
Good.
the plan?
Head into the vault.
Okay, Jasper, what do you tell them about the knowledge that you have about how to get there? About location and all of that stuff?
Well, I guess I tell them all of the initial entrance portion, and just like
None of the stuff that I've given you about the vault, how to get in, where it's located, or even the other stuff that you know from previous between session stuff has been divulged to anyone else in the party. So that is up to you to give them what information you will.
no, right, and I think what I would do is I would actually put it on like a piece of paper, essentially, so that way they could like burn it in a moment's notice if needed, like for I don't know.
Are you
protecting
wanting
the
to tell
info.
them how to get to and look around the place that's the entrance to the vault, or are you wanting to just tell them how to get into the vault and where it's located?
How to get into the vault, where it's located.
Okay. Go ahead and tell them that, and they can write that down or whatever.
I would put it on paper myself and then give it to them.
Okay. Go ahead and tell them. Nobody knows it but you.
Do I know it?
I sent it to you. Check your message. I mean,
Put it
there's
in a different language.
There's the session from a couple weeks ago that you and I did on the side about you
Yes.
in the area, and then there's the thing that I sent to you on the 12th.
Yes. Alright, and then first I would say, now, who here speaks Draconic?
I do. I speak many languages.
Good. Who knows what other language of yours might come in handy now, Well, so what Jasper writes down on the paper, and he kind of gives like, he even creates like a rough-ish map, just for reference. And what he writes down is, let's see, he shows like a building, and like other buildings around it for reference, but he points out that this particular building is the Capitol, or a Capitol office in Fort Frolic. So behind the office, in the ground, you'll find engraven into stone an arcane rune. And then there's a key phrase that you need to speak. And And in Draconic, Jasper writes, "By the pure and by the mighty, reveal your true nature." Or, as I guess you would read in the Draconic, "I will send this to you, Prince." And then you can say that.
Yeah, I'd like to hear you try and say that. I want to see how that comes across.
Oh,
I was gonna take the honor for myself, but I should be a little more charitable with fun D&D opportunities.
that's
Oh.
cruel.
I will give you this hint, Prince. If you recall, Zelkier, when actually said in Draconic, is Gelchier, or Gelchier. So the K makes kind of a ch sound, and the X makes kind of a j sound.
Jesus. Wait, are we there now?
I mean,
Like, you haven't
did you
covered
want to
it.
practice
here.
it in front of? Did you want to practice it in front of Jasper? Make sure you got it right, or did you want to save it? Do you want to save it? Let's save it. Okay. So, what are you guys going to do? Are you just going to go straight to the location that he told you?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen real quick so we can kind of... Actually, hold on. We have it on...
And I'll just assume that we waited until Gabriel was ready and now
Yeah.
we're going.
Okay, so just because I know that we've got the map here, let me just share it. What? Melkar. Do I not have it in here? Alright, well, I thought I had it. I will share my screen in a normal way. So the place that he points you to... Did I go too fast? There we are. So the place he points you to is here, on the left side of the big field, and over in these darker roofed buildings. So in that area, as you...
Your stream closed.
Yeah, because I closed it. So I just wanted to show you where on the map it was.
Okay.
So you get over to that area, and about half the buildings look to be burnt out and broken, which I guess is kind of common with the rest of the city. But then the others look to be still standing. The quality of the buildings in this part of the town is certainly noticeably different. They're nicer buildings, larger, more easily fortified in the event of an attack. Much like in Melkar, these are fairly quickly recognizable as more official or special offices. It's probably the part of the camp where generals and other ranking officials would meet and would have their quarters. So as you get to this area, it's at this point, since you waited for Gabriel, it's probably close to midday, and there's not too much going on in this part of the city. This is actually, everywhere that you've been, this is the least frequented part of the city. Everywhere else, there's at least people bustling around, there's trade, there's hawkers. Here, there's nothing. You see the occasional time that someone is walking nearby, but they appear to give this section a wide berth, even if they're passing by. But most of the, even many of the buildings that are still standing are kind of broken in at certain points. And the whole area is kind of a mixture of capital offices and ruins. It will, or so if you want to go straight to the description that Jasper gave you, I'll have you make a perception check, but I'm not sure if you wanted to do anything else before you go straight to that location.
No, you did say that there's going to be a lot of like generals and stuff like that. Is it a busy place in the city? Like, is it noticeably busy? Like, is someone going to see us do this?
So when this was a military camp, this would have been where those generals were.
Oh, but it's not.
At the
I mean,
moment, this place is abandoned, completely abandoned, and
okay.
it's actually kind of weird. Elsewhere in the city, where you have nicer buildings, kind of like this, that are still standing, they're filled with people. Like there's people that have claimed place in there and are living in it, turning it into their home. Here, you have none of that. No one is coming into this section of the city, and anyone who comes close by is giving it a wide berth.
Which is strange.
Is it like a taboo place or something? Are they afraid of it?
I don't know why you're asking me.
I'll ask somebody that just passes by about that location if I'm able to grab someone.
As you start walking towards someone, they notice you coming up near them, and they actually speed up and are trying to get away.
I would say, excuse me, do they acknowledge me at all?
They turn and they see you, and they stop, but they are probably about 30 or 40 feet away. Do you need something? Can I... Who are you?
What can you tell me about the area over there? What does everybody avoid it?
You must be new in town.
I am?
People go missing in that section of the city. That's not a safe place to be. I wouldn't stay there long if I were you. It's not a good place.
I see. Thank you. And then I'll turn back around.
He watches you very cautiously, and then as you start walking away, he pretty much runs.
Oh wow, it's that bad.
Okay. If nobody else wants to, I can go check things out just by myself if you want.
I would probably join you because I imagine you don't have a lot of ways of detecting magical properties, do you?
I'd also
I
like
can
to
detect
go.
magic.
Are you going to look for the location where the door is, or are you checking the area?
Well, let's all just go. Yeah, I was just gonna look for the door.
Okay,
I'm happy to go.
give me a perception check.
I'm following behind them as well, but
Great. I will assist whoever else is looking around.
Good call.
my perception's not the greatest. Is assisting something anyone can do, or is it something you have as like a class skill?
Assisting
Anyone.
is you roll, and if you beat a DC 10, then you give them a +2.
Oh,
Yeah!
Then I guess I'll just roll a perception check.
Oh, I have never came in so clutch for this party than now.
Also, I just want to point out that Gabriel came out. He took a quick bath, and he oiled his hair and his beard. Like, he's proudly displaying his dwarven attire.
Does he smell fantastic? Is he just like, super fresh right now?
He smells like oak moss.
And
Not bad.
he also has a slight scent of liquor on his breath.
Yep.
Why does that description make me just think of Old Spice instead? I don't know why.
Because there's nothing quite so manly as Old Spice.
Look at drunk Gabriel. Now look at me. Now look back at him. Now look at me. I am not him. I was him last night.
He is still you.
But if he stopped drinking and used Old Spice, he could smell like he's me. Okay, so with the 26 plus the 2 from Nomad assisting you, Gabriel, you are looking around and you're able to find one of the buildings that looks most like probably the head office. Prince, you don't find that same area. You're kind of looking around in a different spot, and the only thing you notice is kind of a flash of movement coming from one of the buildings. But other than that, you don't notice anything else in the area. And after a little bit, you notice that Gabriel and Nomad have kind of zeroed in on one specific spot, and they're kind of scrubbing away the dust and dirt off of the ground.
Did the flash of movement look suspicious at all? Like, did it seem like someone was trying to hide their presence, or was it just like someone walking in between a building?
It was just a flash of movement inside of one of the abandoned buildings. I'm not going to tell
We
you
had-
if it was suspicious.
We had better secure the area first. I don't want to come out of the vault and then there's like 15 people there waiting for us. You know?
I agree.
I agree, especially since it seems like the people who had this information could have come here by themselves a long time ago.
Yeah, there's clearly something they wish to avoid,
Yeah, and they
or at least
did
that we
not-
could weaken.
And they
Go ahead.
did not tell us what it was, which is even more suspicious, considering that it is pretty common knowledge that this place is dangerous, or at least has the perception of being dangerous.
Right.
Well, I personally think it's wise. Whatever, if we can find whatever it is that people are afraid of, if we can, as quietly as possible, take it out, so that it is no longer a threat for us when we come back out. But nobody else knows that we took care of that. It will help things be clear in this area, so no one's coming around to check out on things.
Okay, Nomad, I noticed some movement and one of the abandoned buildings around here, which is suspicious to me because it's abandoned. And also considering that it's right around the time we're coming here as well, and maybe we should check that out, but I don't know how much time I want to spend doing that. I don't want to waste the day away.
Of course. I think just a quick check should suffice. If we just went building to building, checked it out, we don't have to spend too much time there. One real question, or sorry, a question real quick. Do even like the skeletal, like undead town guard, do they even avoid this place?
They stick to where there are people.
Okay. Alright, so that's not particularly indicative. Then, but yeah, let's go to that building that you saw, Prince, first, and we can just go from there.
Alrighty.
I will draw my whips.
Okay. Who goes in first?
I'll go in first.
Okay.
I'll follow.
Do you go in as well, Prince?
I will wait around the door, but if they get too deep in, I probably will follow.
Okay.
I'm just
And
acting
then
as like
Hestia,
look
Malith,
out.
where are you guys at? This is still a little bit before Jasper's going to get here.
I'm going to follow close behind them, but stay in the shadows and try and blend in using
Okay.
my trait.
Yeah.
Is there a rock I can pick up?
Yeah, there's a rock you can pick up. As you enter the
Okay.
building, Gabriel...
I'll also follow them.
Okay, as you enter the building, Gabriel, your amulet starts to vibrate.
I'm right behind Nomad, so I'm gonna put my hand on his shoulder to kind of like signal him to stop, and my other hand is gonna go up to whomever's behind me, like to hold.
Okay, well, I will notice that because I was checking to see how far you guys were gonna go in before I come in.
The vibrating
Yeah, I'll stop
stops.
and I will.
Is that perceptible to like other people, or is it just something that he would feel?
He's
I mean,
the
I'm
only
gonna
one who
notice
can
him-
feel it.
Okay. I guess I don't know what it means then for you guys to stop. So, all right, go ahead.
The vibrating stops, Gabriel.
Okay, I'm going to whisper to Nomad. My amulet was vibrating. There was undead nearby. As soon as I signaled, it stopped. And then, is anybody behind me actually?
everybody except for Nomad
Everybody.
and Jasper.
Yeah. Then I'll turn to the person directly behind me and whisper to them and tell them to pass it on.
Okay, I will cast message. I can do it as many times per day as I want, so I will.
You have
just
to have a
ask-
specific target in mind.
Well, that's why I mentioned I could do it multiple times a day.
Yeah, no,
I don't
you're
know how-
good.
I'm just going to I guess I'll just point at I don't know how far Hestia is away. I'll just point at Hestia and
Okay.
tell her that it appears that there are undead in this building. Actually, you know what? I'm definitely not going to tell Malith because she might like slide in here and just light the whole building on fire.
Okay.
So yes,
Prince,
She's
did
not
you
Leon.
have you gotten into the building yet, or are you still outside?
well now that I know that there's undead, I'm going to start walking inside.
Okay.
I'll step in the front.
Gabriel, your amulet starts to vibrate again.
Okay. Then I will signal again and like tell them like kind of like signal like it's happening again. I guess.
Wait. Sorry, go ahead.
Prince, you hear a voice very close to you.
Okay, sorry. I was gonna stop Prince before you went inside, actually.
You are further in front of him, so you would get to him a little bit after he gets inside. And Prince, that's when the vibrating starts again. Gabriel, as Nomad, as Prince enters and as Nomad kind of turns around to kind of get Prince back out. Prince, you hear a voice next to you, and it says, "You came here. I thought I was to come and find you tonight."
Oh. Hold on, give me 1 second.
Wait. Is he the only one that can hear that voice?
Nope, you guys can hear it. And there's no name addressed to it either. It's just simply
I'll
that.
say, are you the only one here?
The only one in this building. The other keepers watch elsewhere, at least during the day.
Keepers. Does that mean that you're guarding this, what is it called? Vault. Sorry.
That I will not say. None but other keepers know the nature of what we keep. None but other keepers may know the nature of what we keep. Such is our oath, such is our calling.
Okay. If we were to disturb the vault,
You hear a hiss as you say the vault.
Okay. I am
You
going
must
to
leave this area. Unless you have official business within the vault, you cannot be here. Or, regrettably, I must remove you.
I appreciate
we absolutely
your warning.
have official business along the vault.
Do you have
Hold on.
evidence of such business?
No.
Okay.
Then
I'm
your
gonna
petty words mean nothing to me.
I'm gonna grab Nomad, not grab, but touch his shoulder slowly, and I will then say to the voice talking to us, "We appreciate your warning." And I'm going to sort of signal Nomad to step out of the building with me, along with Gabriel, kind of like hinting to both of them to step out. Do you guys comply?
I will.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll walk out, but my hand is on my axe. I haven't taken my axe out, but my hand is on my axe.
Okay. So once we're out of the building, out of earshot, I'm gonna talk in a low voice to Nomad and Gabriel. It seems like we found the lair of the vampires that we have previously encountered. And out of character really quick. Did we know that the vampires needed to go back to their place to regenerate and that we need to, like, prevent them from
Make a
going
knowledge
there?
religion check.
Okay. Thank you.
They're not considered super common, so I'm going to have you make a check.
I just didn't know if that was something we figured out the other night or not.
Actually, I want to roll for that as well.
I mean, you were drunk, but...
Gabriel, you do know that that is the case, and so do you, Prince. That the vampires, if they reach that point where they're forced into mist, that they would retreat back to their coffins, and there they would be able to regenerate and heal.
Also want to roll for that. Sorry, it took a minute for me to unmute myself
you
to say
don't
it.
need to make that check. You already know.
Okay.
You know how vampires work.
So
I figured I would.
I'm going to continue the thing I was saying to them. So I feel like we have a couple choices here. I don't think we have enough evidence to convince these vampires as, you know, as helpful as the one inside this building has been to us. I'm kind of torn here because I think that they're probably just doing their duty, and I think we're going to have to fight them no matter what we do. And I think based on our last engagement with them, I think a fight would be foolhardy. I think it would be more difficult than is really necessary. I know that our companion Malith can light things on fire, and there are several buildings here, and it is daytime. So it might be prudent. I don't know if setting these buildings on fire would cause damage to the city. I don't know if that's a problem, but I think we should either find a way to subdue these vampires or hide from them, or just destroy their resting places. Again, I don't...
Did you say that where I could hear it?
Depends on how close you are. I stepped out of the building
with your check, Prince, if you're intending to incapacitate but not destroy these vampires, staking them through the heart but leaving them that way would incapacitate them, and then if you simply unstaked them later, they would come back. So just as far as the knowledge that you have about vampires, that is something logistically, based on that knowledge check that you got, that you are capable of doing.
Good thing I murked one of them. Whoops.
Okay. Then for the sake of brevity, I'm going to communicate that as well with what I just said, as an option where we can destroy the resting places, or we can do the more complicated task of incapacitating them, which I would prefer, because I don't think that it's really necessary to kill them. I think they're just doing their duty. And I think guarding the vault is probably something relatively noble. What do you guys say? What do you guys think, rather?
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to give me 1 second.
Anyone else have any opinions? Because, Gabriel, you're right there with us. Mela, you me a little bit out, but I moved away from the building, so presumably both you and Hestia would probably be able to see that we're talking about something.
Yeah, all of you can at least see that this is happening.
Or, if anyone has any other ideas, the vampire that warned us, he is at least amenable right now. He will be for a couple of days, in fact.
Well, thing is, we have to go in there.
Absolutely.
So unless we can find a way to peacefully go in there and avoid the destruction of that being, we have to kill it.
Well, we can incapacitate it.
Okay.
We can
But
stake
also-
them. I'm not skilled enough to do this, so this is something that is definitely going to either have to be Gabriel, Hestia, or Nomad. I'm not sure Malith is skilled enough to get that close to a vampire.
I think Malith has probably been closer to a vampire than any of us here right now. No.
Technically, that is true, but I mean, a hostile vampire where you can land a blow where it needs to be landed.
I mean, I can set them on fire.
Yes, I am aware of that.
Why do I need to strike a blow when I can just burn them?
Well, these vampires don't seem to be after us for any malicious intent other than doing their job. Nomad, are you still incapacitated
I
in
mean-
some way?
We could argue that their job is maybe malicious intent in itself.
I'm speaking to Jasper's familiar. Anyways, I did want to say we should only take what we need. All right, we're not burglars after all. And
Well, if-
anything else that's in there that we don't particularly need will help if we do actually manage to save Zelkir. Sorry, it'll help the kingdom.
Well, I agree with you, but that kind of reinforces my idea about these vampires, is that if they are the guardians of the vault and we are not taking everything in there, then presumably we should probably leave them to do their job.
Of course. I think that what they're doing may be a good thing. If we can just simply get them out of the way without permanently destroying them, I think that we should probably do that.
Well,
Because for now, they're the only thing that's going to stay behind and secure the safety of everything inside of there.
Well, the one vampire in there is amenable to me. I don't know exactly to what end I can use that to our advantage. He's not obviously going to help us in a way that would compromise his job, at least not knowingly. But I currently cannot think of something I can tell him in order to make this easier on us.
Roll another knowledge religion check.
Okay. Ooh. I could have taken a 10.
You know that it takes time for vampires to regenerate.
Mm-hmm.
Time
That we could use to get in the vault.
Well,
So if we,
time that already has not necessarily taken place since the last time that they were hurt.
so they may still be hurt. Is that what you're telling me?
It is the daytime, and they are currently recovering from debilitating damage. The likelihood that most of them are still in their coffins sleeping is decently high.
Okay. Alrighty.
I mean, if anything, we should make use of this time for now, and if things come to blows, we can just run outside, worst case scenario.
Okay. Well, I do have one question for him before we go in. I'm gonna walk into the building slowly, showing that I am not coming in aggressively.
You need to convince your friends that the vault is not worth going after. If you're not here officially, and I have no reason to believe that you are, then it is in your best interest to leave before you are made to, in a more permanent fashion. And
We
you can-
are here.
Yeah,
We
sorry, go
are.
ahead.
We are here on official business. In fact, our companion here, I do not know who you work for, but our companion here has a, I don't want to call it a quest, but maybe a request from a queen to come in here and get some things. I don't know what I need to show you to convince you of this, but it is most assuredly true.
Give me a bluff check. I know that it's not exclusively a lie, but in the circumstances,
Yes.
I'm going to ask you to do a bluff. Which I know... What are the circumstances that you're able to use your perform for bluff?
There is no stipulation on when I can use perform.
Oh, you
for
just
bluff.
get to? Or that you
I just
don't?
get to.
Okay.
I just get to.
Okay.
At least that's how it's worded.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I couldn't remember. I knew some of them had a... It's while... You're able to use a specific type of performance in place of a specific...
Yeah, they are specific. Like I
Oh.
use comedy for. Comedy does bluff and intimidate. Oratory does sense motive and diplomacy.
So how about this? I'm going to have you roll, but I'd also like you to describe to him why you don't have that proof using performance comedy.
Okay, give
Or
me
should I
one
say,
second.
describe me. You claim to be here on an errand from the Queen. I had heard rumors that she might still live. Perhaps that she might even be here in the city. And yet you carry no evidence. It is quite the claim.
Well, the evidence is. Give me 1 second.
Yeah. Sorry for putting you on the spot.
Well, no, I'm just trying to think of what I could say. Well, you know what I could do? I am going to. I know exactly what I'm going to do. I am going to perform Pageant of the Peacock. By gracefully weaving your body through subtle forms and postures, you convince others of your breeding, eloquence, and refinement. And you get a +4 circumstantial bonus to bluff checks. And, yes. So basically, I'm going to try to convince him of my, while I'm doing this,
What are you going to tell him?
I'm going to tell him the evidence is in my noble birth. If my princely nature isn't enough to convince you that the queen has sent me on this errand, and that the vault, probably belonging to royalty in the first place, is not my right to enter as I please, then I honestly don't know what to tell you.
He looks at you. You don't know much about the vault, do you?
Well, I am royalty, but I haven't been around in a very long time. So no, I don't. But it's not because...
The Queen should have told you before she sent you on this errand, but nonetheless I will explain so that you recognize the importance of our task in defending the vault. The vault is not owned by the crown. It is in many ways not even part of Zelkiur. The vault, the Great Vault, is a place where many can store whatever they need. Those who store rightfully and pay the required dues will find that their riches and their goods are stored as long as they need, and are protected by the clan of keepers, of which we are a part. And so, it is our duty that we retain at all times to the end of our lives, or at least we would if our lives were going to end, to defend this vault, to protect it and its contents for those rightful owners of what lies within. And so if you are here to take for the Queen what she possesses within, then perhaps you can tell me specifically what it is that she has in here, that I may know you are true.
Well, I don't. I'm trying to think of the way I want to approach this. Now that I know that your duty, I do want to answer your question, and I do have something to answer it by. But I'm actually privy to a password for this vault. Is this something that would be evidence for you that I belong here?
Passwords can be shared. By the way, Jasper, I'm pretty sure, did tell you what it was the Queen asked you to get.
Yeah, we all know
No.
what it is. Yeah.
We know the ore, right?
Yep,
The ore.
Yeah.
the Runite.
Isn't that what you said? I didn't know that.
No, you
do I not
know that. You do know that.
Yeah, I do know that. Okay.
I'm just clarifying because that's what he's asking for.
Yeah, I said that I know it. I was just asking if the password was enough. But what she sent us here for is the Ruinite.
He looks you up and down, then nods. That will be sufficient then. You may enter the vault. I will not accost you. Just take
Thank you.
care not to disturb it. Do not disturb the keepers. And take what is rightfully yours alone. It is a shame that you were not given any token from the Queen. You may find other difficulties within, but that is not my concern.
What token are you speaking of? Is that something typical that people have when they approach the vault for what is rightfully theirs?
That is correct, but no more than that can I say.
Well, I appreciate your candor. And I'll walk out of the building. Okay, outside the building, I am going to come up to Nomad and Gabriel.
Actually, real quick,
and-
before you leave,
Mhm.
he will say one other thing to you. Keep in mind that my companions may not be privy to all that we've spoken of here. Be careful.
Is there any way that you can communicate this to them? Are you of any leadership with them?
He looks to the other buildings and says, "There's nothing that I can do. You will have to go and show them similar evidence and convince
Oh boy.
them that you are also worthy and rightful to enter the vault."
Okay, well, this is what I'm going. Frankly, I do not think that we have time to talk to all your companions, but it is the daytime.
Is
And they
there
are-
something that he can tell us that we can then tell his companions, just like something quick?
Oh, yes, I can. Sorry, yes, I'll ask this.
No, you're good.
Is there something that you can tell us, a passcode or some sort of quick information we can tell your companions to let them know that it is safe for us to pass, so we do not have to go through the long and arduous task of communicating all that we have talked about?
Give me a diplomacy check.
Absolutely. Hold on. I forgot which one of my things governs that. Is it?
Yeah, which performance is it for diplomacy?
It's oratory. It's oratory. They're all the same, so I don't know why I'm looking. All my performs are the same right now. They're probably going to separate later. FD 40.
He looks at you and says, "I suppose that I can inform them. If any accost you, simply say, 'By the blood that is true, I am rightful to pass at this time.'"
I appreciate your help. Now I will back out of the building.
I'm going to stow my weapons.
Okay.
Was I speaking loud enough for the people outside the building to hear, or do I need to
No, but
explain it?
you can explain it to them, and you don't have to say it again. So
Okay.
you can just say
Well,
that you told them.
I will explain to them what has happened in the building. And I will tell each of them the passcode in case one of them gets jumped when I am not present.
And it was?
Oh crap, I forgot that quick. By the blood by the blood
By the blood that is true.
by the blood that is true. I am right to pass. I think it was something like that. I don't know why my brain just
Right
threw
to
it
pass
away.
at this time.
Right to pass at this time. I apologize. My brain just has
No, you're
farts
good.
sometimes.
I couldn't remember it. Okay. Well, I would say well done, Prince. Truly.
Thank you. I was not expecting to run into our, I guess I can call him companion that we met last night. I'm glad he didn't recognize that you eviscerated his friend last night, but I guess we should just count ourselves lucky and get on with the vault.
Okay, well, in all honesty, they could have told us. They could have talked to us first, okay? It's not particularly my fault, but anyways, I'm not dwelling on it. Yes, let us be off.
I mean, I will say, I agree that they could have gone about it a bit better, but I will say...
Prince, real quick,
Huh.
you recognize that the entirety of that circumstance, had he not been charmed, he would have probably handled all of this vastly differently than he did.
Oh.
The effect of your charm, remember, lingers for days, and you
Yes,
would know
it does.
this, and you would know that improves his attitude towards you drastically. Not so much that, he'll do whatever you want, it's not a control spell, but properly used, a charmed person is able to make someone who is otherwise hostile towards you at least non-hostile.
Okay. Well,
At least
I'm not gonna
neutral. So,
I'm not gonna change what I was about to say. What I was about
sure,
to say
just
is
making sure
that
that you knew that.
I also don't think that we gave them much of a chance either. If I remember correctly, we came outside, and although you took a defensive stance, the confusion amongst them and the lack of diplomacy on our part, especially considering someone drunkenly fell on one of them, and the other three were burned to ash before even
No,
the
Gabriel fell on a
slightest-
skeleton.
Oh, that was on a skeleton?
Yeah.
They think Gabriel was
It
causing
wasn't
the
even
vampires.
Wait. Hold on. I missed that part. So it wasn't even on the bad guys. It was on the
Yeah.
police.
He rolled a nat 1 trying to jump off.
Wow. Okay. All right. Still.
Also, he said our prey comes to us. So the only thing they did say was something incredibly hostile and
Okay.
suspect.
All right. Well, I'll concede then.
They
think.
did not approach you as friends. They did not approach you as simply defenders. The entirety of this interaction is due to your charm, and that's pretty much it. That's the only reason they're not hostile.
Okay. Well, then I'll leave it alone then. I'll leave it alone then. I was gonna accost them for being so aggressive, but I guess it was warranted. Okay. Well, now that all that's settled, let's move on to the vault.
Okay. So you go to the place that Gabriel and Nomad found, and they had kind of wiped away the dirt and found the rune in the ground. So
All right.
you see
can
before
I-
you the location of whatever this is.
I'm gonna do a full detect magic sweep. The 3-round thing, just to see if there's anything hostile that's gonna jump out at me if I do something stupid here.
There's the tiniest pinprick on the rune itself, and that's it. There's nothing else detectable.
Okay. Well, it seems like this is
And
the place.
it's a sensor of some sort, likely able to detect sound.
Okay,
That's
this
the
looks
only
like the
magic that you
place
find. Say again.
where I said this looks like the place where I'm supposed to speak Draconic. So, out of character, let me butcher this really quick.
Or in character.
Yeah.
Prince
Give it your
probably has-
all.
Prince has probably not had too much opportunity to actually speak Draconic. Reading it is
Yeah.
one thing. Speaking it, I mean, it's even in English where you're proficient, you'll probably have the occasional time that you get to a word and you sound it out a couple times and you're like, what the? Oh, this is how you say it.
Yes,
And that's
the
in a
only
language you're
language-
fluent and speak all the time. So imagine now in a language that you very rarely touch and at most read it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
prove
this-
to us that you speak all these languages, Prince.
Oh god. Well, there's probably only 3 languages he's probably spoken out of this list. 4. There's probably 4 he's spoken to something out of this list. Alrighty. Oh god. I don't even want to. Okay.
In character or out of character?
No,
In
this is
character. In character.
In character, Prince. Come on, you got this.
Carazel, Carashal, Meltuek, Keltos. I gave it my best shot.
Close. You
Sounded good to me.
that's like that was the draconic equivalent of No hablo español. So after a few times, and perhaps at this point Jasper would even step in and like whisper it to you, because he's nearby. I don't know, Jasper, if you would do that. Would you, or would you just let him fumble through it until he finally got it right? Jasper.
Yeah, Jasper would have whispered it.
Okay, I want to hear
to
you
him.
try it, and then if you can't get it, then I'll tell you how it's supposed to be said.
Well,
Right. So, in whisper, you would have heard Karashel, Karashol, Meltuuk Keltas.
So that was actually almost perfect, except for the K's are a ch instead of a k. But yes,
Ha,
do you want to try that again? I want to see if you can get
yeah,
it. 'cause that was-
okay.
that was-
well, as he whispers
Ha,
it to me,
ha.
as he whispers it to me, I'm gonna say, "Well, if you're so good at it, why don't you just do it?" And then I'm gonna step out of the way and push his cane having.
He's still
Lift
invisible.
my-
He is
I'm
invisible,
invisible.
right now.
He's
So you're just
invisible.
sitting there, you try this and you butcher it, and then you hear the voice, like, in your ear, say it.
All right, well, I'm still gonna do the thing I said I was gonna do, and I'm gonna wave my arm flail-like in the direction I think he is to like push him into the thing. If I have to roll to maybe slap him in the face to get him in here,
Sure,
I can
go ahead.
do that.
Actually, I'm just going to roll the 50% for you.
Nomad's just trying to conceal his laugh watching this.
Yeah, you completely miss. Like, you go out to hit him and you're just like...
Where are you?
Yeah, do you want to give it one more try, Jake?
Yeah, why not? Let's do that. Okay. Oh, jeez, I lost. Okay. So I imagine the KH is actually the K sound rather than the H, right?
Yes, so the K by itself is
Alright.
ch, the X is a sh, or a zh, and then the KH is a k. And then the two U's
Sweet.
are an oo sound. So, yes, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
You said it right.
Harashe. Oh, gel. Okay, not shell.
Yeah.
Gel. Okay. Haragel. Harashol. Meltuk Keltas.
The ground beneath you begins to slowly move. And it opens up. You kind of see the outline of a doorway. And then the ground kind of lifts. And like it kind of lifts up like this. And then slowly, with the sound of rasping stone, opens up to show a doorway and steps leading down. And you notice that there are colors, or there appear to be several magical sensors nearby, like just on the insides of the door. And after probably about 10 or 20 seconds, the door finishes opening up, and below you, you see only darkness. The door itself is probably about 6 feet tall, maybe 6.5, and the gap that it leaves is probably about 2.5 feet, wide enough for one person to get through on their own, but someone who's a bit more heavily built would probably have to turn sideways to go into the doorway down into the depths. You guys there?
I'll go.
I'm here. I will follow behind Nomad, as I will always do.
So it's just
Jasper
completely-
will actually try to
see?
follow behind Prince, even though he's invisible, and hope that nobody bumps into him.
Malith will go behind Jasper.
And sorry, I was muted. As usual, for this, Gabriel will be right behind Nomad.
I am going to how close are the walls to us as we're walking down here? Like, is this like a narrow path or what? What?
It's narrow at first. As you get deeper down, it starts to open up.
All right, I'm gonna tap on the walls just a little bit, not too loud. I'm just trying to test the acoustics. Is there like a reverb?
It is the sound down here is very dampened. Go ahead and give me a knowledge engineering check.
Knowledge engineering. Do I even have points? I'm pretty sure I put points in everything, but there we go. I should just
These
take
are
10,
completely
but-
dark.
Oh,
It is
Oh.
okay. So as you're looking at this entire area, your best guess, as you're looking around, and you kind of there's a little bit of magical knowledge tossed in here to assist in that nat 20. You're looking at this. More than likely, this is completely encompassed by dirt. Something to suppress magic, possibly even some sort of dimensional anchor to prevent teleportation effects working here. In addition, you also have the likelihood that the walls themselves, no matter how far they go, that they're probably reinforced by combinations of metal and potentially even force magic to prevent anything even incorporeal from passing through. As you get in, because do you have dark vision, Prince?
I think I do actually, but give me one second.
Are any
to
of
be
you
sure.
putting out a light to light up the area?
I was about to ask that actually.
Okay, so
yeah, the rock that I found, I was going to cast light on
okay,
that.
so as that opens up, this is you kind of just look around, Prince, and you notice all of this. This thing is a bunker, is the best way to describe it. The amount of care and effort that went into the perfect glass around Alexander's exhibit building pales in comparison to the amount of work that would have had to go into place to make this vault as secure as it is.
Okay, I do have dark
Okay.
vision. I can see perfectly up to 60 feet.
Okay, so behind you all, as you all finish entering in, the door rattles as it kind of closes itself, and the darkness closes up behind you. And so the only light, for those of you who need light to see, is what is emanating from the stone that Nomad lit up. And as you get further down, you're probably at this point about 20 or 30 feet down the stairs from the door, and the area starts to open up. This is not just a hole in the ground with a vault door. This looks like it may be an entire complex.
Oh wow.
Does the door close behind us
It
at all?
does completely.
Yeah.
At that point, Jasper will he'll pull out his shiny iron stone for additional light.
Okay.
Aren't you invisible? So do we just see a glowing light?
Actually,
Yeah.
yes.
No matter
Yeah,
the gods.
yes.
And you just see this stone kind of light up and then start circling
Alright.
points in space.
Well, I'm gonna slap the stone out of the air.
Make an attack roll, melee attack roll.
And I'm just going to step back to look at everybody, and I'm gonna shake my head at
Oh,
everybody.
I am missing.
That is the equivalent of you just kind of swinging at a fly, hoping to hit it randomly. You're just like, wow. You're more shooing it away.
Relax.
Well, you should say something next time before you just invisibly make a glowing object appear out of nothing as we walk into a scary vault with a door closing behind us. Like,
It-
you could have picked a better time.
Admittedly,
Yeah.
I forgot.
Everybody stay on target. Let's remember why we're here.
Alright, so how big is this complex looking out? I can see out to 60 feet. Can I see the whole thing? Or is
Nope.
there places I can't see? Oh,
There are
Jesus.
snaking corridors that lead out. The place that you're in right now looks to be an entry hall. There are sconces on the wall, none of them are lit, but the room that you're in is probably 30 feet wide and probably about 40 or 50 feet long. Sconces on
Okay.
the wall, there are tables, filing, or there's cabinets that appear to be holding paperwork. There's even some displays, paintings. There's a lot going on here in this room.
Well, I'm gonna prestidigitation to light all the, what'd you call them, sconces?
Mhm.
I'm gonna snap my fingers and light each one.
I don't think prestidigitation can do that. There is a spark spell that could, but I don't
Well,
think
it's
prestidigitation
interesting.
can do
Hold on.
fire. Especially since
Well,
there's
it
already another
can't do-
spell.
It can't do fire, it can only light objects that are already meant to be lit.
Oh, it can?
Like, it can light a candle, for example. Or
Okay.
it can light,
Then I will allow that.
Okay.
So one by one, you light up. There's probably about 4 or 5 sconces on either side, and so now the light in the room is much bigger. And you notice one of the paintings on the wall is actually of. I mean, it looks close enough like an older version of the Queen that you saw the exhibit of, and you see some others that look like they're probably notable people. Some of them have the look of other parts of the world, even not just Zelkier. You even notice one of the people on there is a half-orc woman. There is a painting of a half-orc woman on there, and just a number of things. There's just lots of paintings. There's even a large, oh gosh, what's it called? A mural on the ceiling. And
Do I recognize any of this as being, an old genocidal prince?
none of it strikes any familiarity to you.
Okay.
Though
Oh, this is-
you do have a small sense of feeling that you may have been here before. It's like tickling the back of your mind. There's a small amount of familiarity, but not to anything in particular.
Okay.
So
Well,
the way that this is kind of laid out is you have this kind of entry hall, and then it looks like there's a few corridors that kind of snake off in different ways.
oh boy. Does anyone have any idea of how to tackle this? Because I have no idea where I'm going.
I'm sorry, say that again. What are we looking at? What snakes off?
Multiple corridors. Or I think that's what he said.
The ceilings
Yeah.
are about 8 feet tall. Or I guess the in the corridors they are. Where you're at, they're about 10 or 15 feet tall.
I would like to roll survival to see if I can see any tracks on the floor. See if anybody's been one specific way.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll assist. No, I won't.
Wow, you have a plus 20 survival, Gabriel? Holy crap. So you
I
bend
do.
down to check the dust for tracks. And as you wipe your finger on the floor, you bring it up and see no dust.
No dust.
Did you find anything out, Gabriel?
I don't see any dust.
Which means that someone's walked down that path. Unfortunately, I don't know.
Not
Hearing
walking down the path type of clean. As
like
you look
spotless
around,
clean?
as you look around, Gabriel, it strikes you how immaculate and well kept everything is. There isn't a sign of wear or tear anywhere.
So I know I don't
As
know
you-
this yet, but are you saying the whole thing is clean?
Like there's servants
everything?
here that are cleaning everything.
There
to
is
bottom.
not a thing out of place. Everything here is well kept. As you take a moment, you get close to one of the paintings, you notice that they are being kept properly, dusted regularly, or at least recently. And, whatever needs to be done to maintain the actual canvas that they're on to keep it fresh and supple so that it doesn't get old and crack and damaged. Whatever needs to be happening, whether magical or not, this whole area is being maintained. Or has been maintained.
Wow.
You know that some of that, if the area is largely airtight, then there's going to be less dust that can move around if it's not in. There's going to be a little bit of dust in the air, but if the area is kept largely as a clean room, for example, if there's not a lot of traffic in and out, that would reduce the amount of dust. But that would not explain the lack of dust and debris in the area. Just simply not being used. Gabriel, go ahead and roll a perception check for me.
Oh, 35. Tonight's rolls are good.
Okay.
Yeah, they are.
You hear something that sounds about like a small pebble clattering on the stone. Somewhere in the distance.
I am going to point that way, and I'm going to say, it's like a pebble. Like clattering that way. Do I know a direction or just somewhere in the
Towards the
distance?
corridors. Coming from one of the corridors. You can't tell which one.
Okay. Yeah, then I
Well-
relate that.
We are here for something very specific. We haven't come here to seek any sort of justice or anything like that. So I'm not sure we should act as a dog and chase whatever noise we hear. But I also have no idea in what direction that we should go, so going after a noise is no different than anything else.
The paintings, they aren't like above the different corridors, right? They're like
No,
disconnected.
they are on the side.
Okay.
There is a table and kind of a desk near the corridors that looks like it would be kind of a place where a receptionist or someone like that would be that would direct people. The chair there is empty, however.
That
I'll take that rock that I have that has light on it, and I'll just throw it down one of the corridors.
It lights up the corridor. Let me think for a second. So there are 4 corridors total. There's 2 that go more directly to the left, and then there's 2 that kind of go a bit more forward, and then seem to branch off. from there. Which would you put it down one more in the middle or one to the side?
The far left one.
Okay. You toss it down, and you can't see very far, but you can see the light bouncing around. And as you hear the stone come to a stop, the light settles and stays still, and nothing changes.
Well,
Gabriel, you hear another sound, but this one is a lot more muffled, coming from that same corridor that Nomad threw the
Okay.
stone down.
if Hestia could turn one of us into a ghost, that person could just scout every corridor for us.
I can do that.
He can do
But
that.
it just turns you incorporeal.
Does it
Oh.
allow you to actually pass through walls?
I am looking. Wait a second. Well, you're semi-physical, is what it says. So
Okay, so I will say you will be incorporeal insofar as attacks are concerned, but you will not be able to pass through walls.
here I'm looking at my newest spells real fast.
And in case
You know what?
something goes off, what?
I don't mind scouting ahead.
I was actually going to say that Gabriel, you're probably the most reflexive out of all of us. If she makes you ghostly, and if anything were to be triggered, you probably stand the best chance of getting out of it unscathed.
Well, if we all go together, I could do it, all of us.
How long does it last?
It says that it lasts 1 round per level, but we'd have to stay 30 feet apart for me to be able to keep it on you.
So that would only
That's for
be
just the casting.
1 minute.
It'll last a minute from the
Okay.
time that you cast it. You don't have to stay together after you cast it, but it's a minute of being partially incorporeal. Right, Gabriel, what are you going to do?
Okay. I'm just gonna roll the dice and stealth over there.
Quick-
Before he goes, I'm going to guidance and resistance
Well,
them.
I was about to do something similar, but I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Stealth checks. Do you roll them right when you do them, or do you roll
If
when
you're going to roll a stealth
something-
check right now, I will roll it for you.
Well, no, that's not what I mean. I mean, like,
You roll it
I was-
beforehand, and then perception checks will be rolled at the moment, but you make your stealth check, and then
so what I'm
That's what
asking
you
is,
make
if I inspire competence, will it affect the entire stealth
yes.
path? Oh, okay. That's what I wanted. All right, well, I'm gonna sing a little jingle for him.
Okay, then I will roll your stealth check real quick, Gabriel.
Okay.
Alright, if he's going to do that, then I'm just going to give him resistance then, because guidance doesn't stack. With,
Well, it's
so
inspire
I'm just
confidence.
only putting it on Gabriel.
Oh, it doesn't? Okay. Well, that would give him a +3.
I assume Inspire Competence is a competence bonus, is it not?
I believe so.
It gives
Okay,
plus. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
So what was my roll?
that's a good question. Okay, so you begin stealthily making your way forward. Which of the would you go down a side path or down the center paths? Or one of the center paths?
I'm actually gonna look back as I approach the paths to see if they have if the party like recommends a certain way, and if not, then I'm just gonna go left.
Okay. Towards the light or towards the other one that wasn't lit? Keeping in mind that when you're in the light, it's hard to hide.
The one that is dark,
Okay.
that I can see in the dark.
Yeah, okay. You start making your way through the corridor. Go ahead and give me a perception check really quick.
20. It's still not bad.
You feel a slight buzz from your amulet, but then it stops. So much so that you're not sure if you imagined it. And then you hear something as your foot lowers a little bit into one of the stones that you stepped on.
Oh no.
Make a reflex save.
Oh,
With a +1, baby.
reflex
Watch, this
with a
resistance is gonna
+1.
coming so clutch. Watch this.
Okay, let me add the 1. Okay.
Okay.
22.
You are about to push yourself backwards when you get a gut feeling to go forwards instead. And so you lunge forward, and as you do so, you hear the whoosh of steel against stone, and a blade comes from the side of you and clips your side as it swoops back the other way. And you can tell if you'd leapt backwards, it probably would have swung right through where you were. But as it was, it just clipped you instead. So that is going to do 12 points of damage to you. But as you're favoring your side and the blood that you can feel seeping through just a little bit from the wound, the sound of steel on stone stops.
Can we hear this or see it?
No.
All right,
you
well,
hear something, or go ahead and give me a perception check, actually. And then, Gabriel, would you have let out any noise from that or not?
I think we should roll to see what
Okay, give me
that
a will
would
save.
be.
Give me a will save.
Will save. Okay.
Prince, this is what you hear.
nothing. I can't hear anything right
Oh.
now. I can still.
Your
barely
mic's
hear
not
it.
picking it up.
No, it's not.
Gosh dang it. 1 second.
That's the point, guys. No.
He made that will save good.
Did he?
Okay, can you hear this now?
Yes.
Okay, that's about what you hear.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna do anything towards that. I'm gonna bring out a flask and cast Tears to Wine on it. I'm gonna take a drink out of it to get the +5 bonus, and I'm gonna nudge Nomad and be like, "You're gonna want some of this."
What does it give a +5 bonus to?
To intelligence and wisdom skill, I think. Hold on, let me just read it. +5 bonus to intelligence, wisdom-based skill checks.
Yeah, you're able to easily deduce that there was probably some sort of trap that got set off.
Alright. Well,
take
that's
some
fine.
of
I'm
it.
just
Thank you.
taking a swig of a drink while that helps. Did you take some, Nomad?
Is
Yes,
that
I
a
will
first level
gladly
spell or a
accept.
cantrip?
That is a first level spell
Okay.
called Tears to Wine.
How much does it make? Enough
It
for how many people?
It makes 1 cubic foot by 2 levels
Oh,
for
two
every
levels.
2 levels. So I can do like an entire jug
Cask
of
or
it.
something, yeah. Okay. That's a lot.
Yes, it is.
Oh, that's a whole lot. Okay. Yeah, so Gabriel, you're able to pull yourself up. You're favoring your side a bit, but
Okay, I'm just gonna quickly like put a like a handkerchief or like a rag there to us just so that I'm not spreading any blood.
yeah. Okay. So you take a moment and staunch. Actually, go ahead and give me a heal check real quick, just to staunch the bleeding. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but go ahead and roll for that. And then, for a moment, your amulet buzzes again and then stops. Yeah, you're able to staunch the bleeding without too much difficulty.
Okay.
It was more of a long nick than it was a deep cut.
Okay. All right. Then I am going to be a little more careful from now on. I'm actually gonna take my axe out, hold it by the head, and use the base of the axe handle to kind of like touch around to see if there's any like false rocks or any other traps.
Okay. As you're testing around, give me a perception check, and recognize that as you're doing this, this will heavily impact your stealth, but I will be much more forgiving when it comes to your perception checks. Okay. Oh wow. Okay, so
Yep.
as you're checking around, the butt of the axe catches on something that almost feels like a wire, and you see a whoosh again, and you hear a whoosh as another blade swipes in the area in front of you.
In the same direction.
Yes, again designed to catch someone that if they step on the tripwire and then step backwards, that it'll catch them better, even.
Okay. All right. Well, can I cut the wire?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, I'll just cut the wire.
You gingerly and you would be able to see enough where the blade comes through that you get down below it, and as you cut the wire, the blade swings through one more time and just right above you. You almost misjudged exactly where it was going to come through in the darkness, but you were able to not get hurt as it cuts through the air above you.
Okay. In Dwarven, I would just say to myself, deeper, further, underground, and keep going.
You see a flash of movement in front of you.
Does the amulet buzz with that?
It does not. But also the movement itself was a bit further in front of you. You only caught it because of your dark vision, and it was just at the edge of your sight. And you hear the pitter-patter of cloth-covered feet on the ground for a moment, and then it stops.
Okay. I will take 3 to 5 steps forward, stealthily, and see if I can hear anything. If I can hear that being move again.
So brave to come alone. You hear a voice. So brave. Or so foolish.
Is this creature honking like a train?
It
Holy
is!
crap!
I know.
Let me
Somehow the
change
train
my-
is making this creepy.
Okay, then I'll leave it.
That would be terrifying, honestly. Like, it's so absurd that I think I would just be stricken with fear if I just heard, like, a random train.
Actually, the pattern of the train horn, would my amulet, let's just say,
Yeah,
for the sake
let's
of
do
the
it.
game,
It's kind of just like bzzz, bzzz.
okay, then I would go from crouched to standing up, axe in my hand, and just ready to draw a dagger with my left hand, so I can have like a second weapon to help block, if possible, if needed, and say, "I will speak in Dwarven. Best, I'm underground now. I will speak in Dwarven. Maybe a little brave, but I don't believe foolish. Who are you?"
In Dwarven, you hear a response. We keep what is to be kept, and you come here venturing where you ought not. You are not welcome.
I
Gabriel.
come with someone who is welcome.
We are
It is my
forewarned of
duty
your
to
coming.
keep him safe.
We know that you lie. I know that you lie.
Is there? We can't hear any of this, right?
None
The
of you
party.
can. None of you can hear this at the moment.
Oh, okay.
This is just, and even if you could, I guess you might speak Dwarven, but
I do not.
at this point, Gabriel, you're probably about 100 feet away from the rest of the party.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit more.
How long has he been gone?
At this point, it's probably been about a minute or two.
Okay. So there's no need to be concerned then.
Yeah, not yet. Well, not as
Okay.
far as Prince knows.
That with my left hand, I'm gonna let go of the hand that was gripping the dagger. I'm gonna start putting the axe in its sheath. I'm gonna say, "Look," and putting my hands up, like, "Look, I'm not fighting you. I'm not really the words person. My job is to make sure that the person we are here on behalf of or with doesn't get hurt. That is what I came along first. I will step back."
That's
Give me a perception check, really quick.
Yeah. Nat 20.
You notice a figure up and to the left on the ceiling in a nearby room. You can tell that it starts to open up a little bit as you kind of step forward a little bit and then step back. You can tell the room opens up and you see a figure walking on the ceiling coming towards you, and in a flash she is there in front of you, hanging from the ceiling but looking at you almost eye to eye. You come here so armed, bearing only lies. You serve a false
I'm armed.
queen of a dying country. But I see through your lies. You are not welcome here, dwarf friend. You have no business with the vault. And I give this to you as your last chance to leave.
Well, you're doing your job.
By the way, your amulet is buzzing at the moment. I figured
Yeah,
that you gathered that.
yeah, yeah. Then with my hands up, I'm gonna say, "Well, you're doing your job," and now we'll take a step back. We'll walk
Do-
backwards and away.
Do I still have no reason to be worried at all?
You can hear a tiny bit of sound coming, but you can't gather any details. And there's nothing that has happened that you're aware of.
Okay, I want to do one thing really quick.
Okay, go.
I want to do whatever skill check I need to know that Gabriel may not be using everything to his ability to get out of the situation based on what I know about him.
There is nothing that I know of that you would be able to do right now other than sit and wait.
Okay.
Unless you want to go out and do something. There's no information that you have and no ability that I know of that you have that would be able to give you that sort of knowledge. So Gabriel, you begin stepping backwards, and very lithely she follows you, keeping the same distance, about 15 feet from you. And as she walks, and again she's still walking on the ceiling at the moment, you notice her hands and in very sharpened fingernails is the way that it kind of looks. And this is, again, you're seeing in dark vision. And she smiles at you. You notice fangs, sharp and poignant against her very pale skin.
So she's a vampire.
And what
Like the
brings
other
you
ones
here,
do.
dwarf friend? What words
Like I said,
do you think would assuage my wrath at your trespass here?
like I told you, I'm not the person that's best at explaining. So I can help. I can have someone else explain it to you better than I can. By the way, just out of professional courtesy, was it the smell that gave me away? I'm gonna like gesture towards my side where I got cut.
Real quick, I need you to make an intelligence check, because you're still walking backwards, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and make your intelligence
And
check.
I think I know what this is for. When I'm getting close to where the first trap was, I'm gonna wait for.
Let's see how well you
I'm gonna
judge
try and
that.
walk around.
Let's see how well you judge that. Or is there something specific, before you roll, is there something specific you're going to do as you think you get close to it?
I'm gonna try and step around it.
Okay, so you remember that the step itself was closer towards the center of the path, so you'd have to kind of walk, almost waddling, in order to make sure that you don't hit that.
Yeah.
She
And
walks.
I rolled it.
So okay, yeah. So she's walking with you, and she says, "I must admit, you do smell quite tantalizing. I've never tasted blood quite like yours." As you begin kind of waddling backwards, as you reach that point and you're going slower, you can see that her smile turns more to a frown and into a glare. This is your last warning, dwarf friend. Leave now, or you may never leave.
I am going the way I came.
She stops following, but she stays again on the ceiling, watching you as you walk back.
And as I'm getting close to the entrance of the tunnel, I'm just gonna say to her. You said her.
Yep.
Gonna say to
And
her.
at this point, you guys will be able to hear what Gabriel says.
Yeah, and I will say to Dwarven again.
You'll hear him make some noises that sound like a dwarf.
Yeah. You want me to try and say it in Dwarven?
I mean, if you want.
I don't.
Just say
speak
it. Just say it. I'm just saying that nobody
Okay.
else, I think, speaks Dwarven, or if somebody does, then they would understand it. But in Dwarven, you would say,
In Dwarven, I would say, curious thing about duty. We had a polite conversation. I kind of hope neither of us has to die because of duty. And as I get 5 feet after the entrance of the tunnel. Once I'm out of the tunnel, I'm gonna turn to face the party
Okay,
and
at
walk
this point,
briskly.
you have the what's it called? You got a little bit away from her, and after you were about 30 feet away, the amulet stopped buzzing. She was still in sight because of your dark vision. But as you get to the entrance of your tunnel, you look to the side and you notice that the light that Nomad had thrown down that corridor is gone. And your amulet begins to buzz again. What do you do? What is it you're doing with the party as you approach them?
I'm gonna look. Is the party still there?
Yeah?
Yeah, we're sitting right here.
Yeah, we didn't go anywhere.
Okay. Then I'm going to start walking closer towards them.
Does he look like he's scared or walking in a... Do you look like you're scared or walking in a weird way? Like, how are you walking towards us? Are you just tiptoeing backwards? We heard you speak Dwarven, but...
You saw me come out walking backwards.
Mm-hmm. Which is weird. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna
but then-
ask you, what happened, bud?
I would notice his side and say, "Are you okay?"
I would tap my symbol and just stop right there and like stop do a 90-degree turn with keep it pivoting from using my left foot to pivot. So I can look both at the tunnel and then I can just turn my head to the other side to see the party.
Mm-hmm.
Best the amulet's going off again, right?
Yep, it is starting to go off again.
Okay, so I'm gonna look specifically at Nomad, and I'm going to tap my amulet, hoping that he gets catches my drift or gets a
Right.
hint.
I will start walking towards Gabriel. Then I'll at a jog. I will jog over to him.
And I'm gonna look back towards the tunnel and say, "Look, I'm leaving. I was going back the way I came, and you're following me. Feel like you're stalking me. What happened to that professional courtesy?"
You hear someone call out, and it sounds like her, call out in common. "Goodbye, dwarf friend." And all of the lights around you go out.
Total darkness.
Total darkness. And that is where we will end tonight.
Yeah.
That's a creepy end point.
You didn't tell her the password!
Why didn't you tell her the code phrase, man?
Wait, I wasn't given the code phrase.
Yes, you were!
He gave it to all of us.
I was.
Yes!
I will give
Sorry,
you
man.
this hint, Gabriel. The code phrase would not have worked on her.
Oh, okay.
I figure as
Okay.
well. Like,
I did
Like,
think that because she was
in-game-
trash talking the queen.
yeah, what? Especially once she said false queen, I figured I'm like, oh no, this is something
Yeah.
else.
Yeah, to clarify, Prince, the encounter that you had with that one vampire, it would have gone completely different without the charm person. Almost none of what
okay.
you had work with him would have worked without that. And you would have been able to recognize that given just your understanding of people and magic as well. But, yeah. it
So
made him
basically what you're
more
telling me is that the passcode I got only worked because of the circumstances, basically? Okay.
Or at least it only worked on the one vampire up there, because you weren't accosted by any other vampire or vampire spawn up there. But the one who told you that, and, take his word for what it was.
Okay.
It was just he who was charmed. Perhaps he'll be able to assuage the wrath of any vampires up above or his comrades, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So
We're gonna die.
no, you're gonna throw a fireball down the hallway because it's the perfect situation for a fireball.
Yeah, you definitely.
Is that-
The best time to use a fireball is when all of your enemies are clumped up into one
Down a
spot
hallway.
together in an entry hall. I mean, in a hallway.
Yes, it is the perfect spot. Just toss a fireball down there, Jasper.
Just toss the fireball right on top of your party.
That
Not
easy.
on the party, down the hallway.
Oh, that's right. I forget. Jasper's the only person in the world who can use fireball.
Well, maybe not. Fireball's very common. Well, Maleth is kind of.
Sorry,
quick on the
there's
draw
some
with
there's some
fireballs.
subtext here that I guess you're not picking up on, but that's fine.
I'm confused. Oh, they could cast fireball on us. That's true. That is very true. Oh, that would suck.
Yeah, we're gonna die.
Well, I mean, we're a little bit split up. I'm with Gabriel. Me and Gabriel are just sitting there, and then the rest of the party's back there.
Fireball has a radius of 20 feet. It's a 40-foot circle.
Let's just hope somebody who has protection from certain things is quick on the draw. But I don't think that. I don't think that that's gonna. I guess you might hear the words being cast. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, nothing's happened yet. The lights
Yeah.
went out, but that's it.
How is my character supposed to know that the woman around the corner that he doesn't even know the gender of is going to cast a firestone?
That's true.
I'm not going to metagame. I will cast protection from fire on everybody when my character knows that he should cast it.
I know. I wasn't suggesting that you do it.
Well, for clarity, I'm not saying
Really?
anyone is casting fireball. I'm simply
Definitely
saying
didn't sound like that.
that y'all are in a pretty exposed position.
Yeah, we are. All of us together.
Not that there's anywhere here that isn't exposed, but
If there's anyone that's near me, they're in the exposed position.
you're not wrong.
As Nomad pulls out his whip.
Out of curiosity, is Gabriel a dwarf or dwarf-like thing, or is he just
He's
obsessed
an
with
Azamar.
dwarves? So he's just obsessed with dwarves.
He's an Azamar who acts like he's a dwarf.
Oh, that's wild. That was
Sorry.
very,
I
very
grew
wild.
up with the dwarves. I grew
Oh,
up with them. I lived with them for years. My nickname is Tall Dwarf. They accepted, at least one clan has accepted me as one of their own.
yeah. See, I don't know all that yet. I
Yeah,
think the other part is-
Yeah, you do.
How do I know that?
It's common knowledge.
He has literally told you these things. You've asked him before.
Have I?
Yeah,
Yes.
we talked about it over a campfire.
Okay.
Don't you know how much your like bonding moments meant to him?
I remember talking to him. I just don't remember the dwarf part of it. Like, I remember him talking about undead. I remember him talking about knowing an undead family.
Just nothing to do with him as a person and his.
Well, no, I just don't remember him talking. Like, I think that happened before I got here. I think you guys talked to him. I don't think I was part of it.
No, like I think part of it he like told explicitly towards you asking him questions or something. Unless I'm misremembering.
I remember having a conversation with Jasper twice. I did have one, I think I had two conversations with Gabriel. One time was the very first time where I tried to share with him my experience of being tortured. And then the other one was, I think he pulled me aside one night, but I don't think we talked about any dwarven stuff. I think we talked about, I don't remember the dwarf stuff nonetheless, but
Well, when we started the conversation with Cohen, you were there, right? When he was using his puppet to speak to us.
Yes, I remember that the puppet was
Okay.
a dwarf and that he was your friend. I do remember that.
He's my best friend.
Yes, but that doesn't mean you were like in dwarven culture. But yeah, okay. There are signs that you were dwarf related before now.
Yeah.
Alright, I am going to end the stream from here. Thank you to our viewers. It has been a pleasure to have you. We will see you next week.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.